Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. We extend a warm welcome to you all from ReCast Technology. I would request Mr. Jayesh to introduce us to the team behind ReCast Technology and take us through the Mall Street hack.
Thank you, Apurva. Good afternoon and welcome to all of you. Thank you for joining us for this brief on ReCast Technologies Private Limited. To begin with, let me introduce the people here. I am Jayesh Chakravarti, co-founder and CEO of ReCast Technologies. To my right is Prasad Hebar, Chief Technology Officer and co-founder. And to my left is co-founder and Chief Marketing Officer, Sandeep Upadhyay. Always good to give a little context about ourselves before we get to the heart of the presentation. I wanted to make 2 points here. One of the things common with all the three of us is we are hardcore Bangaloreans. Coincidentally, this year I would be completing 50 years in Bengaluru. And Sandeep and Prasad are also from Karnataka and settled here for a long time. Therefore, it gives us enormous pride that we are launching this platform for the retail segment in Bengaluru. The second one I wanted to say is highlight what might be in your mind, a bit of a contradiction. We are a startup, but as you can see, not by millennials. There are two of us, grey-haired, and there's one sans any hair. Be that as it may, one thing is sure, we come with substantial experience from corporate India. I spent over 3 decades with corporate India. My last role was as country head for technology services for Fidelity Investments in Bangalore. Sandeep has spent over 2 decades with corporate India again, and his last role before he joined us was as head of marketing in ITC Foods division. And Prasad has had a more checkered career. This is his second startup. And of course, he has been with Citibank and others, and his last role was again in Fidelity as the head of analytics with the personal investing division in India. With this as the background, let me now get to the seed of how this idea came about. Very briefly, what you see is a wonderful picture of Commercial Street of 1982. So the idea for this startup came 2 years ago when I was with my friends. I'm from BMS College of Engineering, and they were all my classmates, and we were at this place called Vidyarthi Bhavan in Gandhi Bazaar having masala dosa. And somebody said, when was the last time any of you went to Commercial Street? And the answer was absolutely shocking. The answer was the person who last visited it had done so 2.5 years before that. And it was shocking because as a child, for all of us, for me, for Sandeep, for Prasad, this used to be a major source of interaction. And I remember as a kid waiting every month to be taken by my parents to Commercial Street. And so to see the frequency drop from in 20 years, from 20 to 24 times a month to once in 2.5 years was something incredible. Came back and we spoke with each other and said, we must get to the bottom of what is happening with regard to brick and mortar retail. And we found when we researched that there were 4 changes that were happening. The first one, of course, which is all evident, but nevertheless want to say cities are becoming denser and there are infrastructure bottlenecks, which means more energy is consumed, it costs more, it takes more time, more effort to visit a high street or a mall as opposed to sitting at home and shopping. Second, the demography of Bengaluru, and indeed all the other cities have changed substantially. You now have more men and women in the workforce. And therefore, in a nuclear family, the opportunity to have disposable time to invest in going to a high street or a mall is much less. The third, of course, is the arrival of e-commerce, which really changed the name of the game. So you now could order what you want sitting at your home, except we'll talk a little about that. The experience is not the same, but nevertheless, it was a good experience. You wanted something urgent, you could get. The last finding we had, which we thought was actionable, which was one of the causes for the creation of this company and the platform, is that we found that the retail community did not have a cooperative marketing effort at all. On one hand, you had their brethren, the online people high up on technology, great on digital technology and innovations, and the brick and mortar institutions, the retail, kept chugging away the way they were doing. And therefore, this four were the reason for a steady downhill slide in terms of footfall. And then, of course, what I call the last straw that broke the camel's back was the arrival of the pandemic, the announcement of the pandemic this February. And I want to tell you a story which I always remember. When the slide is slow, people don't react and don't realize the danger. But when it is precipitous, they understand. So it's the old story of you boil a pot of water, and if there is a frog in it, it never realizes it is being burned to death because it doesn't sense the change in the temperature. But boil a pot of water and put a frog in it, it'll immediately jump out and escape because it understands. In some sense, these two events, one was a gradual decay of footfall, and the second one was a precipitous drop in footfall. These two together made us believe there was a big opportunity to help retail. Let me now jump into the solution. Before I give you the nuts and bolts of it, the physical assets and aspects of it, what is it that we are offering? There are two paradigms already in existence, as you can see in the graph. There is from times immemorial stores and malls, which is shown in quadrant 1, where on one axis it is physical shopping, on the other it is experiential, where you use your sensory information to touch, to feel, to smell, and so on. Nothing needs to be said about this because we are all familiar with this paradigm. Diametrically opposite to that is the new paradigm which came in about 15 years ago, which is e-commerce. The shop is no longer physical, it is online, and the experience is transactional, if I may put it that way, which means you just go there and buy what you want. There is a small blurb which says that research shows that people spend less than 9 minutes shopping online. So these were the two paradigms, one experiential, got you joy and happiness, the other one transactional and quick. And therefore, we felt there was a third paradigm available, and that is in this fourth quadrant where you can see ReCast written there, where it is experiential like physical shopping or almost like physical shopping, but online, which means it has the merits of the joys of experiential shopping, but the good qualities of online shopping, such as contactlessness, safety, and so on. We felt that this is an idea whose time has come now, and we call this live commerce. What is live commerce? In simple definition, it is e-commerce plus the social experience. In some sense, if I could go back to the previous slide, live commerce is e-commerce plus plus. It is e-commerce plus something more. And our solution is squarely positioned as a live commerce solution. Let me now say that it is with this background of technology and model, we hope to reignite Bengaluru's retail community again. It is sometimes sad to see the low footfalls, the difficulties, and so on. And we are hoping live commerce will give a fillip to all the stores, the 3,000 odd stores that we intend tying up in Bengaluru to implement this platform. What does the product look like in nuts and bolts? Very briefly, it has three components. On the consumer or the shopper side, there is a website called Mall Street. On the shopper side, there is an app that the shopper can, the storekeeper or the store owner can download. A store can download as many apps of Master as there are salespeople, cashiers, store owners, store managers, and so on. So you have Mall Street on the shopper side and Master on the store side. Orchestrating them intelligently is the cloud, where there is a technology that we have created. And of course, what does orchestration mean? The whole live commerce revolves around video technology. So if a consumer were to call on video a store, the cloud orchestrates to make sure there is a ringtone, people pick up, they come on video, they talk to each other. If a consumer wants to chat first before coming on video, the orchestration ensures that the chat is alerted on the store side and the store replies to the chat. Or if the consumer wants to speak on audio, again, the same thing happens. So intelligently, the interaction between Mall Street and master is made live by the orchestration of the cloud. Having said this, uh, they say a picture is worth 1,000 words. So I could get into the nuances of it, but clearly the best way to do this is to give you a demo. So we have a small recording, which is of 4.5 minutes, which portrays what this live commerce actually feels and looks like. And let's see this video. Welcome to ReCast Technologies demonstration of live commerce. It consists of the shopper on one side and the store on the other, and they interact with each other on live video. What you see on the left is the Mall Street website, which enables the shopper to log into video shopping. On the right is Master, which is an app for the store. The shopper now is logging into the website and goes to the homepage of Mall Street, which has various announcements as well as a list of stores that has tied up for video commerce with ReCast Technologies. He clicks on Goodwill, which is a store there, and goes to the store page. The store page, in this case of Goodwill, shows the products, the storefront, as well as the various features like chatting, reserving items, etc., available on the store. He clicks on the Shop Now button and goes to the entrance to the store where he decides to do a video chat. Let's listen to this lovely chat.
Good afternoon, sir. Welcome to Goodwill Electronic Store, Jayanagar. I am Manjunath, the store executive. How can I help you?
Good afternoon, Manjunath. I have an urgent need to purchase a Eco Plus Smart Home Hub. Do you have the product?
Absolutely, sir. We have the exact model that you are looking for. Give me a second to quickly grab the product for you. This is Echo Dot. Now, let me explain how this works.
No, Manjunath. I am familiar with the product and I am also in a hurry. Just tell me the price.
Eco Plus is attractively priced at 8,499 with a discount of 30%. Would you like this?
I will take it, Manjunath. This is my first live commerce experience. What do I do next?
That's good, sir. So, there are 3 simple steps for it. Step 1, I'll add this product to your cart. Step 2, once you view it and confirm the same, I'll raise the bill. Step 3, you can make an online payment. With that, the transaction is complete.
Great, Manjunath. Let's go for it.
Thank you, sir. Please stand by.
While the shopper is standing by, Manjunath is busy using his app, the Master app, to scan the product and fill in the details. The moment he does this and presses a button, all that which he has provided in terms of product description, price, quantity will reflect in the shopping cart of Mall Street, which is the shopper's website. You can now see him enter the product description. He's already scanned the product, he's put the price, and he presses the button, and there you go. There is a notification, and the shopper has said, I confirm. The moment he confirms, he gets a notification saying his order has been accepted, and Manjunath in the Master app gets a notification saying that the bill needs to be produced. He then generates the bill in the traditional way in his POS system, no different, but scans that using the Master app so that there is very little change. And having scanned the original bill, he also fills in some of the header information. The moment he presses confirm there, again, voila, the details will reflect in the shopper's Mall Street website. You will soon see that as he presses the confirm button. There you see a notification, and Mall Street, the shopper's website, has the bill. The shopper views the bill to make sure everything is fine, scrolls down to see that all the descriptions are fine, and then he commits to proceeding to pay, which takes him to a payment screen. He chooses net banking to pay, and using a payment gateway, he makes the payment to the store. The moment that succeeds, Manjunath sees on his Master app a notification saying payment successful. All that is now left for him is to get the address and ship the item to the address of the shopper. A lovely transaction concluded from the living room of the shopper. Thank you for watching that video. Of course, in the interest of time, it was compressed to 4.5 minutes. I wish store owners would wish that customers are as the way that person was saying, I don't need to, a description, I'm ready to buy. Now that you have watched that, let me now summarize what I have presented into two buckets. First, what is the benefit of live commerce ReCast platform to shoppers? And then I will talk about retailers second. Benefits to shopper, number one, is the thrill of discovery. You saw the website which had an aggregation of a number of stores. Today we have 130 of them and we intend to get 3,000. So let's take this example that one of you have a wedding to organize for your brother. And you want to buy a lot of gifts for the male and female members of the family, shirts and saris and so on. You go to this website and you find 5 stores offering this, but one of them is keen to liquidate and therefore is offering a discount, buy one and get one free. The thrill of discovery is fantastic sitting in your living room. The second thing is safety without trade-off. Clearly, online is safe, right? There is no contact and you're doing it from home. But there is a trade-off. The trade-off is that the social experience is missing. You don't have the joy of it. Whereas here, you get the safety along with the social experience of talking to the storekeeper and asking her, please drape this sari. Let me see how it looks on you so that I get a sense how it will look on me. The third is the joy of social interaction. Taking the example of, again, the wedding of your brother. Let's say you have a sibling, a sister who is out of Australia. You can get her into this video call and both of you together can talk to the shopper and shop for a sari or a shirt or whatever you want to buy as gift for the wedding. Convenience of home trial. Clearly, trial has become a controversial thing because one, every time somebody tries it, it has to be decontaminated. And when I go there, I'm not sure if it is decontaminated and I worry. So allowing for customers who are loyal to you, saying, we will send the item to you, you can try it at home is a big advantage. Hedging one's bet. What does this mean? Interestingly, let's say you log into Orion Mall in Yeshwantpur to a shop and find that they have saris which are lovely. But then you say, hey, I noticed another mall, another store in Phoenix Mall in Whitefield. That too has lovely saris. So you then select the saris, put it in your cart, re-log into the store in Phoenix Mall in Whitefield, again, select a few saris and then compare them for price, for quality, for looks, and then say, I will take the best of this lot. Imagine doing this physically, going to Yeshwantpur in the morning and then making your way to Phoenix Mall. By the time you reach the second store, you're dead tired. And the last is reaching for the best. This is something very, very interesting. Mysore Sari Udyog is very well known for all of us here as a lovely sari place in Bangalore. But let's say you're in Mysore and you want to buy from Mysore Sari Udyog and you don't often come to Bangalore. You log into our portal and we have Mysore Sari Udyog say as one of these stores which has tied up with us. You shop and they ship it to you in Mysore. So whether it is Mysore Sari Udyog for saris in Bangalore, or whether it is Lucknow Chikan work in Lucknow, Jaipur silk, or Chinnalampatti saris from Tamil Nadu, or silk saris from Kanchipuram, we will make you do intercity purchases. These are some of the examples of the benefits for shopper using live commerce. Lastly, benefits for retailers. The single most important thing is an intangible benefit, but the most important. And I'll tell you what it is. The moment you go digital and a shop puts itself online, it loses its identity. Only its product, its categories, and perhaps its product brands are displayed there. But the identity of the stores, which was established in 1932, is lost forever. In a live commerce, we do not go online with a brand or a product. We actually present the store in all its splendor. However venerable it is, we point out, and therefore the store's identity is not lost in a live commerce application like ours. That apart, virtual footfall. In times when number of people walking into the shop is low, it's just as well people come in on video and buy. It doesn't matter whether it's a virtual footfall or physical one so long as sales takes place. Real-time promos. a store has stock and it wants to liquidate quickly, it can go on and create, using our master app, say that I have a promo now and buy one and get one free. And when the stocks start dwindling, they'll say, oh, we don't have stocks anymore, and switch off. And immediately the promo is switched off. So switching on, switching off, real time. Beyond hyper local, which we spoke about. So why should not someone, a very son of the soil Kannadiga from Bengaluru sitting in London, call Mysore Sari Udyog and buy a sari? That's another advantage. You no longer are just hyper local. Marketing reach, today stores struggle how to reach because they send email which is ignored, they send SMSs which are even more ignored. Through our chat medium, in a very responsible way, they can reach out to their own customers and loyal customers. Customer insights automatically glows when you have a digital technology. You will know who are your top 20% for whom you must shower a lot more love, affection, and focus than the other 80 who come and go. And lastly, most important, people often say, of course, if this is video conferencing, I can do it with FaceTime, I can do it with WhatsApp. The important thing to know in live commerce is video conferencing is important and central to it, but that it is not just that. You have to have a number of process before and after. So imagine you're a shop. Let's say 50 people come over 3 days on video conference and say, one says, reserve this product. One says, I will buy this, you keep it, I'll come and pick it up. And the third one says, please ship it to my home. You need a process to track this. You need a process to call them back if you don't answer their call. So live commerce is video, absolutely, but it is an end-to-end process from the beginning to the end of a sales cycle. I hope I have reasonably conveyed what the concept is and what the product is. With that, thank you for your time. We'd now like to throw it open for questions. I wanted to conclude by saying that our fond endeavor, and we will strive very hard for this, is to be the preferred partner for India's brick and mortar business for digital technology and solution, to help them achieve three things: footfall, which is fundamental, sales or revenue, and customer loyalty. Thank you very much for your time, and we are now open for questions.
Thank you, Mr. Jayesh. We throw the question out to the media. If you have questions, you may either raise your hand by clicking on the option to raise your hand, and we will allow you to talk, or you may leave questions and we may ask them to the panel. Okay, we have two questions here. Senthil from Right Info has asked two questions. His first question is, this app, is it available on all the OS platforms as of now? So
I'll request Prasad to answer. To clarify first, which is an app and which is a website?
Yeah, sure. Sure, Senthil, I'm happy to answer that question. So our platform consists of two components. One is called Master, which is for the stores. That is available on, yes, both the platforms, Android as well as on the iOS. It's on the stores. For the shopper, we have a website called mallstreet.co.in, and that again can be operated through all browsers, Chrome, Edge, Safari, and so on. And we consciously took a decision to launch with a website for the shopper side, and we are in the process of creating the app as well.
Thank you, Prasad.
So the next question is from Stuti Roy from PTI. How many stores have joined the platform? What is the target in terms of number of stores and the cities targeted? Also, who takes care of the delivery of products? What is the monetization model for ReCast?
Thank you for such a comprehensive question. The go-to-market architect is Sandeep Upadhyay, our CMO, and I'll request him to answer this question.
Thanks, Jayesh. I think there were 4 questions there, am I right? I think
yes.
So, okay. Just correct me if I miss any of the questions. The first question was in terms of our go-to-market plan, in terms of the stores that we enrolled and the roadmap ahead. We have currently, we just about launched the Mall Street web app today. We have about 140 stores on the platform. We'll be reaching, and we already talked to about 300 stores, which will be on the platform by the end of this month. That will be scaled up to about 1,000 outlets by December. And our target is basically to reach about 3,000 stores in Bangalore by the end of March. So that answers the first question. The second question was, could you just kind of prompt me?
So, who takes care of the delivery of the products?
Okay. So as far as delivery of the products is concerned, like I said, Mall Street is a marketplace at the end of the day. So what we have created is a marketplace for stores to express themselves. And the expression is in many forms. In Jayesh's video, you saw some part of it. It had stuff like, the ability to shop and browse through chat and video. It had something called as e-commerce. Thereby, stores have an option to, basically opt in for e-commerce through us, or they have an option of not opting in for e-commerce and doing it directly. They have an option of basically picking up home delivery as an option or not offering it as an option. Within home delivery, they have an option of paid home delivery or free home delivery. In a way, the dynamics of a marketplace will take over when you have 3,000 stores on the platform. Each store will begin to try and outperform and offer more depending on the competitive segment in which they operate. So that's how we are seeing it. Even with the first 130, 140 stores, we've seen a lot of them are basically now opted for offering free home delivery basis some minimum purchase criteria that they basically put out there and some distance from the store. And if that's violated or those criteria are not met, they're happy to do paid service. So going forward, we'll also be tying up independently with one of the delivery partners of our own and providing that service to all the stores. The next question.
The third question is, what are the cities you are targeting?
Okay. I think Jayesh mentioned that we are all Bangalore boys, Bangalore old men. So we all belong to the city. So we all born and brought up here. So we kind of focused on Bangalore right now. And like I mentioned, I think till at least about December, Jan, we are not looking at anything beyond stretching ourselves in Bangalore. Thereafter, our plan is to basically hit about 20 top cities by the end of next year, because the rollout typically would be much faster. Because a lot of the stores that we're talking to are also corporate. So when you're talking to a corporate, basically they have, say, 400, 500 stores across the country. So once you crack a corporate deal, then basically the rollout into other cities becomes a lot faster. So standalone stores will obviously be independent and there will be a sales team effort involved. But we expect that the split will be roughly between 50-50. So 50% will be standalone, son of the soil kind of stores, and 50% will be largely corporate brands. So it kind of evens it out.
By March, we want to bring a smile in every store owner's face in Bangalore. That's the non-quantitative answer to that.
The fourth one is the monetization model, followed by ReCast.
Okay.
It's from the same person?
Yes, you are right.
See, first and foremost, one of the things that we are doing right now is also the timing of the launch and us meeting you guys and talking about it, etc. We were very clear that basically, and we know because we have a lot of friends in retail, because we've spent about the last 18 months in this and we've met a lot of people. We do know that there is a lot of stress in the sector right now. And we do know that the festival season round the corner is extremely critical for the business. So one of the steps that we have taken is that we are offering a service right now to all retailers free of charge. Okay, so retailers, there's a plug and play model. I think with Jayesh missed mentioning the entire master architecture, the master platform is actually a plug and play device where any store anywhere in Bangalore can actually just download the app and do a self-registration. It's very easy. And within a few hours, a store can actually be on live on Wall Street. And since there are no charges involved, any store can basically get on board. Our intent and our objective is to try and maximize it, so to get as many stores on the platform as possible in the next 2 to 3 months, so that people are able to open another way for consumers to shop in their stores, shoppers to shop in their stores in the next 2 to 3 months, which is the festive season. So there are no charges. Thereafter, our business model, our revenue model hinges on 4 different aspects. At the heart of it all is basically a simple subscription model. There's a subscription for the service and for the marketplace and for operating and marketing the marketplace. So that's a base subscription, which is fairly nominal. Thereafter, there are 3 other components. One is it's something like talk time. So basically, for the quantum of time that you actually use the network for video conferencing and for chatting. So like you have talk time with, say, your mobile phones, there is a certain there's an hourly rate. Okay, so that's basically the money that we pay out, which we basically pass it on. So in a way, it kind of also builds efficiencies going forward because people don't unnecessarily chat. They get on to the transaction of selling. The third basically is third component is per transaction sale, which is basically every time somebody just uses the medium, not just for browsing, but also to transact, which means essentially you're closing a deal and you're making a purchase, then there is a transaction commission that we will basically look at. Okay, that could be very depending on the categories that we onboard. The last but not the least, not immediately but going forward, is basically going to be advertising revenue. So obviously, like all marketplaces, Wall Street offers enormous opportunities for people to position themselves in a good way in front of consumers and be preferred over other competitors. So that's something that we will monetize as we go forward. So I think that answers the 4 questions of the lady.
So the next question is from Mr. Senthil. How secure are your apps for all OSs like Android, iOS, and Tizen? What are the security teams that you are following?
Clearly, Prasad's domain.
Yeah, sure.
And perhaps you may also want to tell Senthil the design considerations.
Absolutely. So security and privacy is at the heart of the way we have designed the platform. And we've sort of ensured that there is industry-grade security and encryption. So as an example, all data in Motion is encrypted over 2048 bits. Important data that we store on the platform, even though it's on the cloud, which itself encrypts the data at rest, but we encrypt it once again on top of that, so that even if there is an issue, important information is not leaked. We also do a lot. We have also focused a lot on privacy. So the shopper number, for example, is never available to the store. Using other platforms and mediums, typically if a shopper has to engage through video shopping, you have to end up giving your number, but we've ensured that this entire platform does not need that. And of course, things like, if the shopper is not comfortable, she could block the video and so on. So that also has been built in.
So, sorry, I just wanted to add one thing. He talked about the architecture and the security and the encryption, etc. The last point that Prasad mentioned is extremely important and a point of differentiation as well that we'd like to talk about. From our research, we understood that a lot of customers and shoppers will initially be uncomfortable with a medium such as this, especially ladies, when they're talking to store salesmen, etc., etc. So we kind of cognized for that and basically gave the customer the option that she is able to see everything that the salesman is showing her, but she has an option of hiding her face. So which I think is actually resonated very well with a lot of people that we researched, where they don't have to feel uncomfortable. So the store owner he only knows a name that she is registered by. He doesn't have her mobile number, and he doesn't get to see her face, so if she chooses to. So in a way, we are kind of provided for some of the initial hiccups or the hindrances that might, inhibit some segments of society from using this as well.
So I just want to complete that and add, so we have very restrictive set of permissions that we ask in the app, absolutely what is required. So that again is a very conscious decision. A lot of apps ask for a huge set of permissions, including your SMS permissions and so on. So we've been very, very particular, and the base minimum set of permissions required is really what we are asking the user to provide when they use the apps.
Apurva, is there questions? I was just wanting to, one of the things I wanted Mr. Senthil to know was what are the considerations for the architecture, the scale, the cost, and
Sure. So while we wait for a question, I could address that. So the way we have built this platform is really keeping 2 or 3 principles in mind. One is definitely the cost, right? So when you're talking about video and you want to scale it to the volume that we wanted to, which is 3,000 stores first in Bangalore, and then 20 cities, and then possibly Jay spoke about calls coming in from London and so on. So cost is definitely a very important parameter that we've kept in mind. Our unit costs are extremely low that we offer on the platform. The second is scalability. So today we are servicing a city and a set of stores. Tomorrow, how do you sort of plug and play and expand this architecture so that in a very seamless manner, you are able to service multiple cities. So it's been architected in a manner which is horizontally scalable. And of course, third is, I come from a lot of analytics background. So we have instrumented this entire platform so that you can draw a lot of consumer insights, which may not be relevant at this point when our volumes are low, but definitely at a later point, it's going to be extremely important. So these are some considerations that we've
Thank you,
used.
Krishna. Yeah.
Okay, so we have another question from Stuti Roy. She says, what I understand is by end of next year, you are looking at 20 top cities. So what sort of revenue would you clock and investments made? Have you raised external funding or are you in the talks for the same?
Sure. Thank you for that question, Shruti. So we are currently angel funded. So the initial effort which we have put thus far has been funding from the three of us, plus from an angel investor, a person well respected in the industry. But as a part of our sign up with the angel investor, we signed confidentiality, which is why we are unable to give the name or the number at this point in time. As far as moving forward, your question was what happens next year in terms of rolling out to multiple cities. The first is by March to make sure Bengaluru is a success. And then onwards, we certainly will look for more investment to roll this simultaneously across multiple cities. And that is the plan at this point in time. And we will evaluate how many cities we want to go to, and based on that, our funding requirement will come out in terms of a financial plan.
Jayesh, I think there's also a question in terms of revenue. What kind of revenue sides are you looking at next year?
Yeah, so we are not breaking up the revenues year by year, but I would just say that in 5 years, we expect a revenue of about 500 crores. 500 crores of top line as the revenue that we have currently planned in our finances at the end of 5 years. Before that, it would be increased. It would be a gradual increase to 500 crores, but year by year, I would not be able to say just now, but perhaps I'll be able to tell you 3 months down the line.
So we have another question from Mohan Kulkarni, who asks about the after-sales services. What about the after-sales services?
So do you want to go?
Yeah, I'll
take a stab.
I'll take a stab, and then you can kind of step in. Okay, I'll start off by saying essentially that I think if that question is triggered by the fact that basically, again, the gray hair and the bald head. So I think we are all, for the last 12 months, 18 months, we have all got our hands dirty ourselves. And in terms of basically onboarding of every single store that we have onboarded, the process has always been about not just launching an app or putting a website out there and basically handing it over, so to speak, as far as the store is concerned. One of the key things that we have invested in and we continue to invest in is basically training. Why training? Because we believe that we are the pioneers of a new way of shopping. We are trying to set up something which is completely new and alien to the existing ecosystem, retailers and shoppers alike. So that means that basically, if this has to work as the pioneers of the people who are setting this up, we have to put in the effort in terms of ensuring that the consumer who uses this or the early adopters who use this get some kind of a seamless, consistent experience when they start calling stores. So they have to have a satisfying experience, or it's not going to work. So we have developed our own modules. We are making in the process of preparing some videos. All of this has been shared. Some video has been shared in this forum. It's a short video, but there are far more detailed videos which I can share with you guys offline if you're interested that we have put up. We are making more professional videos ourselves. We are actually shooting with stores in terms of and in terms of trying to get the best practices out. So we think that going forward, after sales service for us, the most important thing is to ensure that the stores are comfortable dealing with this product and dealing with consumers who basically choose to connect with it here and transact here. The next part of it is basically also to make the call consistent, seamless, and satisfying. You've got to create an environment in the store that works. So when I say environment, I'm talking of technology, I'm talking of broadband speeds, you're talking about lighting, so that color reproduction is good, etc., etc. And again, here there is a lot of research that we have done, and we have identified for different types of stores, different types of jigs may be required. For example, okay, just to give you an example, if it's an appliance store, it is impossible to move the appliance to one location to show the consumer. So obviously the camera needs to move to the appliance. So thereby we have identified certain jigs that can work very well in that kind of a scenario. In an apparel store, obviously you can create some kind of a small mini studio or a studio corner where you can create the optimal lighting, and typically the garments can be displayed there. So there are different ways in which we are working, and we are advising each and every single store in terms of how they can basically move this forward. But like I said, the app has just been launched, so I think much of the action is actually going to be seen in the days to come.
And I just want to redirect it to Mr. Prasad as well. From a technology point of view, is there an after-sales service like supporting a hardware or something?
Yeah. So I think Sandeep answered from the perspective of after-sales service from ReCast, right, for Master. If the question was more about after-sales service of the product, which really the shopper purchased, then essentially we are allowing the store, right, so they can really mention what their return and exchange policy is. And whatever experience that the shopper gets today is really what essentially that they would get. So we are encouraging the stores to really mention and create their own returns policy in the hope that the platform is competitive and really stores would look at each other and then see what is the best that they can do for the shopper. So in case your question was for the end shopper, this is sort of what we're doing.
Sure.
So we have another question from an anonymous sender. How receptive are storekeepers towards this platform?
Yeah. So I'll start and then Sandeep could add. Stores are very, very receptive at this point in time. And to say it with humility, not because this is rocket science, because these are very difficult times for them. And as I said, they are at the edge of a precipice where sometimes footfall the whole day is nil. And therefore, there is an innovation required at this point in time for them to get revenue, footfall, and so on. That's number one. The second point I want to make is, Sandeep alluded to this, we spent 18 months roaming the streets of Commercial Street, MG Road, Brigade Road. One of the big learning is change management is fundamental and has to be tackled when you want to implement something like this. So when you said how receptive they are receptive if the solution is extraordinarily simple. The phrases that comes to my mind, it should be frictionless, it should be simple, it should be plug and play. But if you tell them, please enter this, switch on this button, switch off this power supply and so on, then it becomes a problem. So receptiveness is a function of how simple and how end-to-end that solution is so that they don't have to worry about the solution at all. They just get a call and they answer and they get sales. That is my answer to that question. Sandeep, do you want to add anything to it?
Yeah, I just want to add a more direct response, which is basically the fact that all of you guys are journalists, you guys keep a track of what's happening in the market out there. So you would have seen that in the last 2 to 3 months, there have been several experiments conducted by stores. They could be corporate brands on their websites or standalone stores who have actually started experimenting with video shopping. So, and there have been news articles as well that have been appeared in terms of how stores have started trying this out. So obviously, I think there's a phrase that we like to use internally. I think it says that it's an idea whose time has come. Okay, Jayesh mentioned it in his presentation as well. So there is nothing new in basically video enablement. But I think 2 things that have happened. Number one is the technology of video-based communication, video-based transaction has evolved significantly in the last few months because obviously COVID has pushed people to work from home, so video technology has had to evolve. Second thing is the receptivity, and that's the question that you're asking. So because of the situation, because of the lack of footfall, people are having to look at avenues, having to look at marketing channels that open up new ways for consumers to talk to them, to connect with them and shop. So this is where it kind of seamlessly fits in. And we believe that this is an e-commerce plus, and that's a phrase that we like to use again, because we believe we could have easily created another Amazon for these stores, right? I mean, just create another application where, an app where you basically put images of stock photos and stuff that they sell, etc., with some inventory connected to the inventory system. But we chose to basically go the live route because we believe that there is a lot more to shopping in, say, a pedigreed store in Commercial Street than basically just putting that store online along with 1,000 other nameless, faceless stores and a bunch of items. So the soul of the store, the identity of the store needs to be retained. You've got to give it a virtual form, but it cannot lose what the store stands for. So that's something that we strongly believe in and we try to create. So the reception as such has been very good, but eventually the proof of the pudding lies in terms of how consumers accept it and our ability to create that seamless experience for consumers, so consumers actually find it very convenient. So I think in the days to come, we shall know, but we are leaving no stones unturned.
So we have a follow-up question. how are you going to incentivize stores and customers on your platform? Also, what about loyalty programs through your app?
Yeah, as far as stores are concerned, there is no incentive program as such for stores. Okay, so this is a marketplace, like I keep repeating, it's a marketplace. So you're basically allowing the stores to express themselves. We are giving the stores a menu of options to select from in terms of what they want to offer the consumers, be it in terms of delivery, be it in terms of returns and exchanges, be it in terms of e-commerce transactions and simplicity, additional promotions and discounts that they want to offer. We have enabled it. We have created a system through which any store can select what they want to do. And like Jayesh mentioned, everything is real time. So there's a tap on, tap off feature. So basically they can switch on, switch off, change the look and feel of the store at any given point of time. So there's a lot of flexibility. The second question that you mentioned is about incentivizing shoppers. Okay, so I think basically first and foremost, the question should be about acquiring shoppers. So from an acquisition of shoppers perspective, we believe that the first step and the most important step as far as acquiring users is concerned are these shoppers who know these stores. So every time we are basically onboarding a store, our first target from a point of view of marketing or basically communicating the availability of a new medium of shopping is to the customers who frequent these stores, okay, who now no longer frequent or frequent less often because of COVID. So we are targeting own shoppers, and that in itself is a substantial database. So the ability to convert and actually get these people down the funnel into transacting is much better. In wave 2, which could be maybe a month and a half down the line when the numbers are slightly larger, we will basically invest in a significant digital and digital media plan. We don't believe that too much of BTL or in-store activation will be fruitful at this point of time from an ROI perspective, because there are not too many footfalls in the market anyways. So we need to reach them where they are in their homes. And so we are basically chalking out plans for that. The third question was in terms of CRM and database, or basically customer loyalty programs. As far as customer loyalty programs are concerned, it is very much in our ambit. One of the first things that we are, like I mentioned, is we are targeting the own shoppers. So that in itself, we are kind of reinforcing the shoppers' attachment to the stores in question and kind of presenting the store in a better light, so to speak. Any existing CRM program that is run by the stores with their customers is easily transferable here, because we are not creating any systems. We are enabling the continuation of the existing store policies, existing store practices through another medium. So there's any program that the stores are running is transferable. Centrally, initially we are not running any program of our own, but as we go forward and we start to basically look at spreading wider in terms of acquiring consumers, like I said, wave 2, we will possibly be developing our own CRM program as well.
So if we have no other questions, we will end the press conference here. We'll be sending our press release out along with the short demo video. And if you do have any follow-up questions, you can reply to the mail and we will pass it on to the co-founders.
Thank you very much for your time. We are always accessible if you have any further questions. We look forward to meeting you again soon.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.